Hello friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Rowan, Lyranwitch, and I'm going to be getting collective messages from the frogs for us today. They came through as wanting to actually do a coaching session with you guys, so this will be a little bit different than what I normally do. Spiritual coaching is a little different than a reading because the goal isn't necessarily to reveal new information, but to coach you through a specific issue that you're having or thing in your life that you're going through to benefit you and to move smoothly in your spiritual development. So that is what we'll be doing today. I have 3 piles for you here. Pile 1 is motion. And if you need to pause the video to tap into the energy a little better, you can go ahead and do that. Pile 2 is core. And pile 3 is fragments. So I'm going to go ahead and move forward now. If you need to make final selections, you can go ahead and pause the video. We're going to hop into pile 1. Unintentional pun about frogs there. We'll get into pile 1's coaching session. Welcome, pile 1. You chose motion. So let's see what cards you have. I did pre-pull some cards, but I didn't actually look at what they are at all. So we have Peridot, Iolite, Ace of Fire with Mullen, Influence, Magnetism, She Feels, She Knows, number 22, What is Already With You, 17, Restore and Replenish, 38, Wedding and Marriage, I'll show these cards again later, Being at Work, Laugh and Have Fun, and Connect with Water. So let me tune into your energy, pile 1, and see what the toad spirit, the frog spirit has to tell you. Now, the first thing that I noticed is whenever I was pulling your cards, your pile was actually the one that I had the most trouble pulling the cards with. They didn't want to come out of the deck, which is usually a sign to me of either scattered energy or stuck energy. You might have a lot of start-stop energy happening here, or you might feel like things are kind of fluttering out of your hands or falling through your hands. There's a sense of overwhelm here as well, and a need to, again, restore and replenish. I'm sensing a lot of tension around the shoulders, the throat, and the solar plexus. Connect with water is making me think that you might be taking a lot of showers or baths in order to calm yourself, and you might be very busy right now. With being at work, I think that you might be working towards a goal or just working very hard for a company or studying a lot in order to save for a future. You might be very dedicated to this cause, or you might actually be in a commitment with somebody else. However, this commitment doesn't have to be romantic. This could be a commitment of just having a lot of things to do that you can't necessarily drop, whenever you need a day off. You are somebody, I'm sensing, that other people look to for advice. You might be somebody who corrects other people's work. Yeah, with magnetism, a lot of people come to you for advice. You might be some kind of auditor or, somebody who checks the work of others in some way. Yeah, with influence as well. I feel like you might train people on how to do something or correct their work if they do that something wrong. There's a lot of people who really like you, though. I feel like you have a good attitude at whatever it is that you're doing, even if it is stressful. People definitely enjoy your presence. Yeah, we have eye light with work connections as well. It says magical powers, feminine divine, work connections, and inspiration. Some of you may be a manager. And with the Ace of Wands here, you may also give out directions to people. Like you may assign tasks, because I'm seeing somebody pointing a wand and that thing being done, but not being done by you necessarily. Yeah, with Mullen, that's very connected to the lungs and to speech. You might have to talk a lot for whatever it is that you're doing, or present things. Let's see, Peridot, well-being, attracting money, good luck charm, healing heartbreak. And motion. Okay, now that I got a feel for the energy, what Frog wants to coach you on is how to sit still, which is interesting because you chose motion. But what they're showing me is a frog sitting in a pool of water and resonating. They're making kind of like a low vibrating sound, and it's rippling out from them, almost creating a like an expanding spiral, like creating their own sacred geometry through the voice, through sound. You may do really well with chanting or using mantras, Pile 1. And I get the sense that this will actually help you feel less imposter syndrome and more in control of what you're doing. With the solar plexus being a little bit overworked for you guys by maybe overriding your own feelings of insecurity or something to get a job done, or maybe not being sure if you're always giving the best possible advice, or if you can continuously correct other people's work, that you're always correct. There's a lot of stress in that. And I'm sensing that the solar plexus is a little bit overworked, and that's why you've been so drawn to showering and spending time in water, because I was just saying this in an earlier reading that I posted today. When you're in a bath or shower, the movement and the hot water is actually a form of spiritual energy. It carries a lot of spiritual energy. So sometimes whenever we're feeling really run down and the solar plexus needs some assistance, it can feel really good to be in the shower, because it almost makes you feel rejuvenated spiritually. That core of your being feels a little bit better. It's like spiritual caffeine whenever you do that. And then as the day goes on, you're kind of like, ugh, and then kind of wind back down, because it's, it doesn't last all day. All that energy you absorb from the moving water. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. But the frog spirit is saying it will be beneficial for you if you can do this in a very calm way, and be able to maybe take a break or take a vacation for a minute. Even if it's just a long weekend where you're in the pool or in a hot tub, and be able to just spend an hour or two in the water, just soaking, relaxing, or floating, maybe listening to your favorite music. There's something about being healed by the vibrations and by some kind of resonance, and allowing the water to help replenish your solar plexus, because this is definitely a theme in your life I'm sensing here. And this is what the frogs really want to coach you on, is being able to not have to constantly be in motion necessarily to feel like you're doing what you need to be doing. You don't need to prove yourself to anybody. They want you to feel and know that you are already good at what you're doing, and that you don't have to be perfect all the time. I'm sensing a lot of perfectionist energy from this group. It is something that I'm hearing, hide well and manage well, but it's not something to be carried into this next phase of your life, for sure. This group is very strong in their spiritual energy, but maybe doesn't have a lot of time to relish in it. Like, there's a lot of other things going on around you peripherally, and a lot of other people that you have to interact with. For this reason, frog is suggesting that you create a charm. Maybe it could be a crystal that you keep with you. It could be a necklace. It could be earrings or a ring. A ring may actually work very well for you guys because we have a ring on this card here. And what you can do is you can take your ring and hold it in your hands, open the chakras in your hands by bringing your attention to them, and using your energy sending hand, because we always have a sending hand and a receiving hand. You pull energy through the top of your hand, through the palm, into the object that you're charging, in this case the ring, with your intention. Your intention can be something to bolster your confidence and to support your solar plexus while you're wearing it. This will alleviate some of your issues that you're having with questioning yourself, because I feel like you have to push through questioning yourself to such a degree that it makes you feel a little bit overwhelmed at different times, or at the end of the day. You might be somebody who gets to your lunch break and just feels very depleted and have to make up for that with caffeine. Something like that. Because this is more of a coaching session, the frogs want you to bring your attention to the things in your childhood that brought you to this place. Who was it that originally made you feel that you need to be perfect, or you need to overachieve to be noticed, or to be recognized as correct, to be accepted? Who were you waiting to give attention to you, to give resources to you, or to give notice to you? Because it's time to release this now. And understand that that was a survival mechanism that you had to use when you were a child, but it's not one that has to go with you in this next stage of your life. It would be really good for you to speak about this to somebody that you trust. You don't have to talk about it a whole lot, but I get the sense that it's not something that's been spoken out loud. And Mullen, speaking about breath here, is bringing breath into your intentions and your new life, is what I'm hearing. So because the voice carries a very specific and powerful resonance of bringing what's in our mind and in our heart into the physical world, just as the frog is creating movement in the water much bigger than its physical body whenever it makes a rumbling noise and the ripples come out. It's the same kind of thing here. If you speak your truth about what you experienced when you were younger and what you are going to experience, what you are speaking into existence moving forward to someone that you care about, and not just writing it down, but literally speaking it out loud, maybe even recording it on your phone and keeping that and listening back to it once in a while just to remind yourself that you're speaking this into existence. Something to support you on days that you feel really overwhelmed. That's really going to help you. You can even call in the energy of the mullein plant whenever you want to feel more support for your voice. Because I get the sense here that you weren't heard when you were younger. And perfectionism was very powerful for you because people recognized you. This brought a lot of people to you. It made you really good at what you do. But that came at a cost as well. And the cost was your confidence, needing to push through in that solar plexus. There is an inner child within you that really wants to be held through this and recognized, because this inner child is being silenced throughout your day, is what I'm getting. And speaking their truth out loud, even recording it for yourself, maybe once a day, just checking in with the inner child, speaking out loud. You don't have to keep those recordings, but speaking it is really going to help that inner child feel nurtured to the point where, you don't feel so separate from them, and that can come back together. I just got a movement and a sound in my right ear. Let me listen to what Spirit has to say. I'm hearing census. Okay, I heard census and I heard take stock. They want you to take stock of what currently in your life makes you feel overwhelmed. What makes your inner self kind of come back emotionally to the part of you, or I guess to the earlier part of you? And what age does that take you back to? These are all things to keep an eye on, because that's all a part of healing your heartbreak. And again, you don't necessarily need to write this stuff down, but I feel that speaking it out loud, even talking to yourself, just while you're driving or going about your day, just speaking things that you notice out loud, even though it sounds a little crazy, will be really helpful for you, because sometimes being able to voice those things makes them real. And when you recognize something and make it real, it releases it from your aura. It releases it from your energy field. That is going to help actually attract more money for you. I don't get the sense that this group is necessarily struggling with money, but anytime that your solar plexus is strengthened, that helps your confidence to expand out from you. And the things that you speak into existence then have more power. So if you speak more success into your future, that will be heard. Okay, that is what I have for you, Pile 1. Thank you, Frog Spirit, for supporting us and for bringing through this beautiful session for Pile 1. And I hope that this serves you guys. Please let me know in the comments what parts of this resonated for you, because I'm interested to hear. I definitely resonate with this group myself. So I hope that all of you are healthy and safe, and I'm going to move on to the next pile. Take care. Pile 2, you have core. We're going to get into your coaching session now. I pulled some cards for you, but I haven't looked through any of the cards yet, so let's go ahead and see what came up. I'm told to only keep the first one in reverse. Okay, so we have Tiger's Eye in reverse, Turquoise, Madre of Air, Motherwort, Connect with Past Loved Ones, Earth Magic, Money, What Do You Feel? Number 9. Free from Judgment, Free to Love, 39. Focus on the Light, 37. Alliance, and Potential. Potential also is staying in reverse. Okay, now because this is a coaching session, this works a little bit different than a reading, because the goal isn't necessarily to reveal new information. It's more so to help you in your spiritual development and move through a specific issue that you're having in your life. So I'm going to read into the energy here, tell you what I'm sensing, and then we'll get into how to work through this issue and what the messages from the frog spirits are in regards to them. So with Tiger's Eye in reverse here, Tiger's Eye talks about luck in new ventures, willpower, creative flow, and overcoming fear. This comes up in reverse, which is interesting because when I was pulling the cards for you guys, the cards for your group came out the quickest and the easiest. So I sense that the energy is moving, and that the issue may actually be that you could be moving too fast. But we'll get more information. Turquoise, talking about leadership qualities, clear communication, prosperity, and success. Things are coming in. Okay. Let's see. We have Queen of Swords here with Motherwort. So you do get right to the heart of things, especially with that clear communication. And connect with past loved ones, sense, feel, reconnect. Earth magic, nature, rituals, and charms. We have money falling out of somebody's hands. You may be giving to somebody. Yeah, with what do you feel? I feel like you may be ending a cycle with giving to some people in your family, potentially, or a chosen family, because you love them and you have no judgment for them. Somebody could have an addiction here. I just sensed addiction energy. And focus on the light. You always see the good in people, for sure. But what I'm sensing is it's like the core of the issue. There's like one person here in this group of people, potentially your family, who you see who they are at their core, but you're not paying attention to who they are right now and what their actions are costing you. Because I feel like you're getting money, but you're having to give the money away right away. So you might not be able to save. You might be constantly balancing things like, what do I pay first? Something like this, because I feel like this has to do with resources and money. We have potential in reverse. This may be somebody who you really care about with this alliance here, maybe even a sibling who never met their full potential, but you see their potential. The reason they didn't meet their potential, for whatever reason, is because they have some healing to do. This may be somebody you were really close with when you were kids. And you went through something together, or you just had a lot of adventures together. This person's success has been limited, potentially by alcohol, but it could be any kind of addiction here. This person may be oblivious, I'm hearing. So I'm hearing oblivious and depressed. And you may be afraid to set a boundary with this person. But what I'm hearing is that this is actually blocking your creative flow. And new things aren't coming into your life the way they normally would. You're somebody who can usually easily bring in new things. Easily succeed, because you speak that stuff into existence because people naturally gravitate to you. But it's like with this person's energy on you, because they're not around you all the time, but I feel like this person's energy is near you, even when you're not necessarily physically together, and people can sense it. With the Queen of Swords, it's like people see it right away, and this person's energy might be very abrasive to others. There is a need to ground this energy out of your field. Okay, let's get into the coaching part of this. I'm getting a good sense of what's going on here now. Whoever this person is to you, that you really care about, but that isn't necessarily meeting their own potential and struggling, probably financially. The frogs would really like you to... They're showing me a frog burying itself. There's several types of frogs, actually, that bury themselves in the dirt and deep down in the soil, and they wait out the winter. There's a sense of needing to step back from this person and wait out the winter in their life. You may have to freeze this person's access to your money or resources so that you can come back to yourself and regain that core creativity in you. Because I feel like this group, you might not be creative professionals per se, but I feel like your creativity is very central to who you are as a practice. And it might have gotten really thrown off from this person's energy laying over you, because I'm seeing it laying over the heart space. And it's because you see this. The frogs are indicating here that it's not a harmful thing for a winter to happen. Okay? Winter is not going to kill every living thing out there. And you can't be afraid to take care of yourself first when a winter happens. And this person is in a winter in their life right now. They will not be stuck in winter, and they will not starve in winter, but they need to learn how to also bury themselves in the dirt and move through their own winter, because what's happening is it's like they're showing me one frog staying out of the soil and not burying itself with the others, and going and being blown by all this ice and cold and wind, and it refuses to move. It's a very stubborn energy, and that's this person. And they're showing me like one frog trying to show the other one how to dig the hole, and the other one fully not paying attention. And for that reason, it's like it never learned to dig its own hole. It never learned how to hibernate properly. So it might be enabling a lot of other people to come into, like this person may be enabling a lot of other people to come into their life, and them giving to those people and then asking you for money. So it's like you're paying for other people or taking care of many people for some reason, because this person maybe isn't setting boundaries or isn't moving through their own hardships or challenges properly. It's like they never learned. And I think that you've always looked out for this person and maybe enabled some of their worst qualities. That's not saying that you're a bad person for doing that. It comes from a place of compassion. But it is really important to know when to cut this person off and let them fend for themselves, because they need to learn how to do things for themselves. For some of you, this isn't a sibling, and it could be an adult child. Yeah, they're showing me somebody learning to use a whetstone and create their own knife so that they can also tend their own crops instead of having somebody else do it for them and leeching off of that person's crops or farm. Now, in order to do this, the frogs want to take you back a moment and ask, at what point did you first realize this person was not learning the same way as you and not making the same kind of choices as you? They would like you to pay attention to that moment and remember how you felt when you really made that connection. The reason they bring this up is because there's an avoidance of that feeling that you originally felt when you realized that sinking feeling of like, oh my gosh, is this person going to be okay? And they want to remind you that emotions don't last forever, that this person needs to be responsible for their own choices during this winter in their life, and that you also need to be responsible first and foremost for yourself. It's not selfish to take care of yourself. They would also like to bring to your attention times that you put yourself last and things went very wrong. And I kind of get this sense, as soon as I said that, I felt a pushback, like almost somebody laughing, like, oh, that's a lot of times. I understand too. Personally, I get that. It comes from a beautiful place, okay? It really does. And think of it this way. This is what the frogs are showing me. There's no way for you to focus on what you need to focus on, to stay warm, to stay in the light, if you are letting this person drag you into the cold and the darkness with them. That only brings both of you down. You will be better equipped to help this person when you're not enabling them, and when you let them figure their own stuff out. It's okay to give guidance within reason, but they really want you to remove the material support that you've had for this person and allow them to flounder and figure it out, because I'm hearing they will figure it out. This person is not as incompetent as you think they are, and it shows them respect to trust that they can figure it out and allow them to learn these lessons, because you're at a point now where you've made such an alliance with this person on a soul level that you may be taking on the beginnings of karmic lessons that were meant for this person. And that doesn't prevent them from going through those lessons also. It's just now you're both going through lessons, and some of them you already learned, so you shouldn't need to do them again. It's bringing tower moments into your life. If you're familiar with tarot, the tower is a sudden issue that causes you to fully eliminate something. And I feel like you're at a point in your own life now where you shouldn't need those, where you're conscious. You see things coming from very far away, and you usually make really good decisions. This person is a soft spot for you. The frogs want you to remember that you need to stay warm, okay? They really want you to keep that in your mind, that visual of burying yourself so that you can stay grounded and stay with the Earth Mother, because some of the issues that are being brought to you by this person are bringing so much chaos and disruption into your life that you are falling out of the natural cycles that you should remain in and that keep you healthy and safe and balanced. If you're worried about a passed on loved one, or a loved one, maybe even that's still alive, that you made some kind of agreement with to take care of this person, I want you to know that it's okay, and that it's not. You may have been put in a position of caretaking when you were very young, and it wasn't healthy. I'm hearing that from Spirit. And if you're worried about somebody on the other side being mad at you, I feel like they know, and they want you to do what's best for you, because it's also going to be what's best for this person. For the potential card to come up here is telling me that this person is going to move forward. This isn't a failure card. This is a work in progress card. They really want you to look at the big picture here. This woman is looking at the earth here. You removing this support from this person in the broad scheme of things is not going to make the difference that you think it is in their life. It's going to make room for them to make better choices. And it's going to make room for you to have more peace and more stability, which is only beneficial for both of you. So please don't be afraid of that. The other thing I'd like to recommend to you is using Tiger's Eye and turquoise to support you during this. And if you work with ritual objects, an athame may be a very useful ritual tool for you. An athame is a knife or some kind of blade that you bless. You put all of your intention into it, that where you point that blade and how you use that blade translates to spirit. The athame isn't used to harm. It's used to direct energy, because it has a very specific point. Where you point the athame is where the energy goes. A very simple grounding technique is actually to put your athame straight down into the earth. Directly connects you. You can also use your athame to cut away debris in your aura. You can use it to cut the energetic bonds that are holding this person's energy in your field, which doesn't help either one of you. Now remember, whenever you are removing energetic cords from yourself, you can use the athame to kind of almost like cut the air in front of you, right? Or you can use it to cut a cord to represent this and burn the cord. That's a fine way of doing it also. But whenever you do the cutting, imagine also pulling roots out of wherever in your body you feel those, because there's always going to be roots and you don't want them to grow back. Okay, that's what I have for you guys. I hope that this serves you. I hope that it helps you to move through this situation gracefully and to trust that you're making the right decision to support you and this person that you care about and have so much compassion for. I really believe that everything is going to be okay in this situation. I would definitely not sugarcoat this if I saw it was going to be a bigger problem. So thank you to the frog spirits for supporting today and for bringing this message through to Pile 2. I hope you all are happy, healthy, and blessed. And I'm going to move on to the next one. Pile 3. You chose Fragments. So let's see what cards came up, because I pulled cards, but I didn't actually see what they are yet. So we have Fragments, Moonstone, this came up as reversed, Onyx, this one wants to stay reversed as well, Two of Air, Chicory, Fire of Earth, Slippery Elm, Unity, this came up in, this wants to be reversed, Productivity, Softly, softly, the tender touch. Going beyond normal. Faith in the process. New birth guarded vigilantly. Numbers. Have courage and respect your physical body. Now, because this is a coaching session instead of a reading, the goal is not necessarily to reveal new information, but to help you through a specific issue that's coming up in your life, and to make it a smooth transition and help move your spiritual progress forward, I guess. So I'm going to now tune into these cards. I'm going to tell you what I'm sensing, and we're going to see what the energy is, what the issue is, and then we'll talk about it and channel some information and some wisdom from the frogs. So Moonstone and Onyx got my attention right away. Moonstone came up in reverse, which is talking about female fertility, calming emotions, attracting new love and growth. So whatever your gender is, you may be a little bit cut off from more of your receptive energy. Your calm emotions, new things like that Venusian energy might be a little bit stifled for you, which typically tells me you've been through a lot of stress. Most people who are cut off from that are either very stubborn and logical because they've been forced to, honestly, and weren't allowed to play, or weren't respected if they played or something, depending on their upbringing, or they've just been through a lot and it's hard to get back to the softness. With Onyx coming up, seeing the future, responsibility, stamina, self-mastery. I'm sensing somebody who's very focused ahead, but almost from an anxiety standpoint. This can show up as wanting to plan 10 years into your future and micromanage the things that come into your life as a defense mechanism. That's not a call out. I get that too. Two of Swords, Chicory, coming up in reverse. You might not feel like you have a lot of options in whatever this scenario is. It's like there were two choices, but neither of them were good. This is stuck between a rock and a hard place type of energy. With Five of Pentacles. This is involving your home life. Maybe even an issue with being left out of a family or a group. Roommate issues. Like a slippery slope, I'm hearing, because it's slippery elm. Maybe you were trying to be diplomatic and smooth something over for two people. Yeah, there's a sense of being like left out of something. Or wanting to be left out of something also. Unity in reverse. Yeah, you're trying to bring people together for sure. There was some kind of diplomacy thing that you were doing here. Productivity. You might be having to change up the amount that you're doing in order to solve whatever the situation is with a home. Softly, softly, the tender touch. You've had to really control how you were expressing yourself to people. You might have really wanted to say what was on your mind, and you're going beyond normal to try to appease these two people that are struggling, or two groups that are struggling potentially, but I feel like this is between individuals. There might have even been two family members, or for some of you, not all of you, you could have a spouse that was not accepted by a family or vice versa. There's conflict. And it's very difficult communication that you're having to have. You're really having to watch what you say. Really praying for faith in the process, asking for a higher power to oversee this. And that bird is like your guide, just trying to guide you. Archangel Gabriel, maybe somebody that you've been calling on to help manage your speech, manage your words, and bring this fragmented family together. This might have been the family you grew up with for some of you. You've had to have courage, and you've really had to detox from whatever this is. Look, there's another house on this card, I just realized. But this house is covered in snow. It's like you just want to be left alone in the woods. Detox, rejuvenate, relax. Respect your physical body. You might have been ignoring yourself in order to try to fix this situation. Because it's like something new was forming and you're really trying to protect it. You could be trying to protect a love from people that are not accepting. And the numbers. You might be getting a lot of angel numbers at this time. Some that could be useful for you are 20, 14, 32, and 24. 26, 49, 53, 18, and 70 may also have special relevance. Let's see. It says some initial possibilities to consider are house or apartment numbers, phone numbers, and meaningful dates. For example, birthdays or anniversaries. And this is a dream deck, so I'm going to read this because I feel like there's something in here for us. A dream about your own PIN may be suggesting that you're being too secretive or self-centered. If a two-digit or more number fails to reveal meaning, try looking at the individual digits in turn. If you're still stumped, take a numerological approach. Numerology looks at the symbolic meaning of numbers, especially in terms of spiritual growth. In brief, number 1 suggests new beginnings, 2, relationships, 3, creativity, 4, stability, 5, change, 6, nurturing, 7, truth, 8, wealth, 9, awareness, and 0, timelessness and eternity. In general, odd numbers are perceived as possibly anxious or threatening, and even numbers are more reassuring and positive. Of course, small numbers can appear as things. If, for example, there are 2 horses in a dream, perhaps they represent a significant pairing in your life. And it's interesting because they bring up 2 horses, and I was just speaking about there being 2 people in this scenario, or 2 forces, with this 2 of swords, or 2 of air here with chicory. There's somebody who's, I have to say this to get a clear guidance of, or I guess clear guidance from Spirit on how to coach you through this. But because I'm going a little bit more in depth with you guys than I did with some of the other groups, because this seems like a very confusing and fragmented situation. So chicory is a coffee replacement, and I'm getting the sense that somebody may be viewing this somebody else as false or pretending to be something, and that person isn't pretending. They are literally doing a different thing. I don't know. I don't feel falseness from either side, and you might be the only person who sees the truth of the matter. You could be defending somebody. Okay, now we can move forward. Let's see what the frogs have to say about this situation and how to move through it properly. Ooh, this is interesting. This is different than the other groups. So the frogs are showing me a mother frog laying her eggs and having to leave her eggs because frogs don't take care of most of them don't take care of their young. And they leave and they move on with their life. You may have to trust that a situation can work itself out. I don't necessarily feel this is involving a child for most of you. For some, it may, because we do have new birth and there's a child on the creativity card, or the productivity card. But I feel like for most of you, these are 2 adults. There's a sense here of needing to trust that the situation will play out the way that it needs to, because the next scene that the frogs are showing me are all of the eggs hatching, and there being thousands and thousands of tadpoles. And the tadpoles, by virtue of there being so many and being able to work together, are very protected. I get the sense that if you take a step back and calm yourself and not take responsibility, like full responsibility for the situation, there will be power in numbers, I'm hearing, for this person. If you're the sole emotional support for somebody in this scenario, or potentially both of these people separately, you may want to encourage them to find some friends, or if you know some people who would be good friends that could be mutual friends for both of you, that could be a good way to deal with this situation. Because there's this sense of there being some kind of social group here, and being able to entrust that people will connect with each other the way that they need to, and to grow the way that they need to together. But you not necessarily doing caretaking, right? There is an alternate scenario as well. This is a very complex situation. For those of you who resonated with children being involved in this scenario, some of you may actually have trouble conceiving a child. That's not for many of you, but if that is the case, the guides are seeing that there will be another opportunity or another child. If you lost a child, I'm really sorry that you went through that. And I'm being told that that child's spirit will come back in another form to you. So it's like you'll still be able to spend life together, just in a different form. Whether that is another baby, or if you'll never be able to have children, they could come back in the form of an animal or the form of a friend later. I'm hearing walk-in for somebody, so they may actually come back as an adult, and you'll recognize them right away. But I'm feeling that whatever your scenario is, whether it is physically involving children, or it's involving two adults that are at odds with one another, and you're being forced to be a diplomat or a referee or something, I really feel that these situations will be resolved peacefully and without you doing the work. Now, with the power in numbers for the adult people, there's another thing for this. Let me see what the frogs are showing me, because they just said there's another facet to it. Okay, I'm seeing a frog jump into a really, really deep pond and swim all the way to the bottom. And there being like an alligator or something at the bottom that tries to grab it, but it's able to get away just fine because it had to go so deep and it's so dark and murky that the alligator can't see it anymore, and it's easily able to get away. So in this situation, they're saying actually that you may actually have a pool to pile too for some of you as well. I just felt that right away. Similar message. This person, some of the people in this scenario may have to go rock bottom, almost deal with the situation to its extreme. And in order to do that, they need you to back off, because this is not your scenario. It may feel like it is because you're seeing something they're not seeing, but this is a spiritual lesson for the people involved. Nobody is going to be harmed in a way that is long-term in this scenario. Spirit's saying that is our promise to you. I'm hearing that they need to go to the bottom so they realize that they both have power. And they both either respect each other or are able to part ways. They may even have to go to that point so that they both have enough courage to stop triangulating through you or through other people and interact with each other clearly. But there will be other people involved. With this strength in numbers, there will be emotional support for both people from folks other than you. For some of you, this will require professionals for these people. But it's important that you have faith that it can work out, because when you try to keep them from going to the bottom of the pond, it's harming you, because it's like you're losing your air. You're not able to breathe anymore. You feel like you're drowning or suffocating. And they're not being able to go down as far as they need to learn the lesson. So it's like continuing the process. It's prolonging the inevitable. Whatever the worst case scenario is that you are thinking, I don't feel like it's going to get to that point. Now, as far as the coaching aspect, I'm being called to ask you, when was the first time in your life that you had to go between two people that you care about and try to talk both of them into tolerating each other, accepting each other, or being respectful to each other? They want you to think about this and think about how you felt the first time that that happened. When you feel that energy, it's really important for you, Pile 3, to feel where it actually lives in your body, in your aura, and be able to pay attention to that energy enough to feel the emotion that's inside of it. This is the core of this energetic wound for you. This is where it's living, and this is where it started, because you've gone through this multiple times with other people, maybe even with your family, if this isn't your family here, but I feel like for a lot of you, this is family. And whenever you feel the emotion fully, I really want you to understand that that emotion is not going to last forever. Feeling it is transmuting it. And feeling it will help you make sense of it from an adult standpoint. Because I feel like there's a lot of pushback and avoidance of feeling this because it's been so overwhelming for you when you were younger. And by doing this emotional labor for other people this way and trying to protect other people, you may be trying to protect them from something that you experienced yourself, or protect them so that you don't have to feel the discomfort of accepting that other people are just like this sometimes, and you can't be the go-between all the time. You need to preserve your own inner unity and your own, parts of self, because I'm seeing this as almost shattering part of your internal self because it's so damaging to you. There's a lot of hurtful interactions happening here. And Spirit really wants you to bring your attention back to your physical body. Recognize how this is harming your physical body and focus on yourself. If you have a womb, you may want to do womb healing. Working with moonstone and onyx will be very, very helpful for both of you here. I just said both of you. That was interesting. I didn't even notice I said that until I thought about it. Somebody in this scenario with you, you'll feel called to also advise that they use these. But do take a step back from the situation and speak these calming words over yourself. It's really important to go back to self first, okay? Because you're extending beyond your capacity now. I promise things will be fine. That's the message from the frogs here today. So just remember, you can call on the frogs, and especially on the tadpoles when you feel like this situation is really overwhelming. And they're showing up to say, like, others can handle this burden with you. You don't have to take charge of this. This is something that you can allow others to take charge of. You can allow people to grow and develop by themselves, and they will be absolutely fine. You can even live in the same pond if you can tolerate this, You don't have to necessarily put people out of your life if it's not the right thing, But you can let them learn their own lessons. Okay, that's what I have for you, Pile 3. I really hope that this resonated for you. Please let me know what you think of the message or what parts made sense to you in the comments. I love to hear from you guys, and know what these messages really mean. Thank you, Frog Spirit, for bringing through this information and this wisdom for Pile 3. And I'm sending you guys lots of love. I hope that you are healthy, wealthy, and blessed. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.